Pat, Courtney, and Cindy put the new JSA back together to fight Eclipso. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve from Valhartv, and today I'll be reviewing Stargirl episode 12. So Jenny is kind of an interesting character. Out of all the new ones that we've seen so far, hers is the most interesting because she's Green Lantern without the actual lantern. So in the comic books, we find out that she's the actual lantern herself. So and the ring is just helps her focus her powers. She's very interesting in this show because in last episode we saw that her power, her light, didn't really affect the Eclipso that much. And I'm not, it may be a combination of her not knowing how to use her powers, and the fact that she's just not really strong enough yet because she doesn't know how to use them. And it could also be the fact that it may not be the right type of light. Like we saw Courtney's staff was able to hurt Eclipso, but Jenny is not really able to. So there's a little mixture here that I find kind of interesting. And this is emphasized when Beth and Jenny are at the high school looking for the shade and they find a residual goo or something from like the Shadowlands when Eclipso opened up a hole and sent Cindy there. So I thought that was very interesting. Now, Cindy's starting to become interesting as well. She's still snarky, but she's trying to get along with Courtney and everyone because she wants to defeat Eclipso just as much as they do, especially for what he did to her. So I think this is kind of interesting because she's really not all that bad as we see. She ends up helping bring the JSA kind of back together. And I thought that was interesting because it shows that she's trying to be bad and she's trying to make people think she's bad, but I think that there's like a duality there, that she's not really bad. It's just that nobody has been there to encourage her to do the right thing, like especially with what her father did and then what she did to her mother, when she was a child. So it's very interesting on her character now. She's getting really interesting, I think. But Pat, oh man, in this episode, Pat was really good. I mean, really good. So Pat goes and visits Rick's uncle, trying to get him to drop the charges, but when talks break down, basically, it sent chills up my spine because I was like, wait, what? The twist in this part was fantastic. Like, I didn't see it coming. I actually really liked this part. And we also get to see Jakeem in this episode, too. So we finally get to see who the Thunderbolt's new master is. So, and we really get to, learn a little bit more about him, but not much. Mike goes and ends up finding out who the Thunderbolt is with now, and we find, and it basically, we just see a little bit of that. So hopefully we're going to get more of him in season 3. And the cliffhanger in this episode wasn't bad. It kind of does show what's going to happen in the last episode, in the finale. And it does involve, and, Jenny was involved in this little cliffhanger. So I thought it was kind of neat. But at the same time, I think they could have done a little bit better on it, because you really don't want to show things that are maybe going to happen in your finale right away. You want to kind of leave those for, like a surprise, basically. So I thought that was kind of interesting what they did there, but at the same time, I think they could have done better. Now, the giant food in this looked terrible. Like, all the effects in this were really not good at all. They were just bad. The giant hamburger, for instance, looked really, really fake. And in last episode, the gingerbread house looked really fake too. So it was it's very interesting that I think that they're trying to save their budget. I mean, that's what I feel like. They're trying to save their budget to have the finale be fantastic looking, and I hope that's what they did. I hope they didn't, they cheaped out on all this other stuff to get to the end and have everything look fantastic. Because the graphics in this were not very good, but the rest of it was all practical effects anyways. So we do see the staff kind of flying around in the beginning, so that looks like that's better. But again, those weren't super special effects, like when the hamburger is like giant, like 20 people, and it's 20 foot tall, and that looks completely fake. That's where you kind of run into problems. Like, well, why are they doing that? And it's very neat, and I hope like they actually do a really good job on the finale. And the acting went to Pat this time. Pat was phenomenal when he was talking to Rick's uncle. I loved it. So this episode shows them trying to get everyone back together so they can fight Eclipso. And they even team up with Cindy to be able to do this, and which I thought was really good. So will Eclipso succeed in his plans? Because we do get to find out what his ultimate plan is now. And so will he succeed, or will the JSA defeat him? We'll have to wait until the final episode to see. But I would give this at least a 7.5 out of 10. This wasn't a bad episode. Again, the pacing's been a little slow because they're trying to give us quite a bit of backstory, and they're leading up to everybody getting back together to finish the fight in episode 13. So, again, you don't really need the pacing to be super slow, so I would definitely give this a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know down below what you guys think about this episode. And if you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe. Take care for now, everyone.